Hello and welcome. Today we are going through the March repurchase review. So if you're new here, what I do is I go through everything that I featured on my channel during that month, any updates, and whether I would purchase again. And let's go ahead and get started. At the end, I will have a top 5 for my favorite items from this month. So we're going to start off with the Westman Atelier lipsticks. So I purchased 2 of the Westman Atelier lipsticks. You can see we have similar packaging to the lipsticks. It's magnetic. It's a little bit smaller, but it is similar. We do have a little mirror on the inside here. And I have to say, you know, now that a lot of people have tried these, there are a lot of mixed reviews. So this is one sheer layer, and this is it back and forth a few times. This is the shade Rephr. So they are pretty pigmented. They are lightweight on the lips. They do have a fragrance, not necessarily an added fragrance. It's like one of those clean beauty scents. You know, it just, this is PK, by the way. And, you know, it's just, it smells a bit, you know, I thought it was more kaolin, but someone corrected me. It is more of the castor oil scent, which can have a scent depending on how it's processed. So that is probably what I'm smelling. But, you know, for me, that's a little bit too strong. These are also drying on my lips, but I played with them a lot. If I want to have color all day, putting on a light layer, blotting it off, you know, and then topping it with like gloss or something works well. You do need to use, or at least I need to use, some sort of lip balm or lip primer underneath, or it's uncomfortably dry for me. Overall, for me, these are a pass. They are not worth it to me. There are much better lipsticks, in my opinion, on the market. So one more time, we have Rephr and PK. And yeah, so for me, these were a pass. Another item I featured was the new Armani Designer Glow Foundation. And I have shade 1.5. And, you know, it runs a bit warm. So I think it's warmer than the 1.5 in the Luminous Silk Foundation, because I've used that shade in the past. I don't have that now, but this definitely seems a bit more yellow. It's an okay foundation. I don't love it. For me, it's a pass. Next, we have the Chanel Rouge Allure Velvet Blanche Nuit lipsticks. So I picked up a few of the shades. This one here is shade number 5. I like how the name, or, you know, in this case, the hour, is actually printed above the actual turning mechanism, so you don't have to pull it out like you do with their refillable lipsticks. So I think that is a nice touch. This one here is shade 5, and this one's my favorite. You can see it is kind of like a pinkish berry, but there is some purple in there. I think it's really beautiful. If you've used the Rouge Allure Velvet formula from Chanel before, you know, it's the same formula, but I think it's gorgeous colors. I love the chic packaging. And, you know, you get this like luminous matte look to your lips. So there's still some luminosity. They're comfortable. For me, these are a win. I love them. In addition, Rephr actually introduced some new synthetic brushes. So this one here is the B01, and they released 3 brushes, B01, B02, and B03. They are synthetic. They released them as a set, all 3 for, I believe, it was $36 US. Right now, they have their concept store event going on. So everything on their site is at least 40% off. So we've got some major discounts going on. I think these are worth trying out if you are interested in synthetic brushes. I still personally prefer natural hair, but, you know, for synthetic, I feel like these are pretty soft and, you know, they meet the need for the shapes. So this one in particular for me, I like for concealer. There's a larger one you can use for blush and so forth. So, you know, I think they're worth trying. I think they are overall a nice introduction to the synthetic brushes. Then we have the ESUM number 3 Harmony palette. Personally, I love ESUM's packaging on these because they're lightweight. You can rearrange everything. You can still see the color names through it because it's translucent. And yeah, I think they've got some great formulas. So these are mattes. These are kind of your warm sunset mattes. And I think it's a great palette. So for me, I think these are a win. So far, you know, in the win column, we've got the Chanel lipsticks, the Rephr brushes, and the ESUM. Those are all things I would purchase again. The Rephr and the ESUM were actually gifted. Next, we have Dolce & Gabbana, the Bold Look collection. And I have to say, I love the color story of this palette. The formulas are actually nice, but I am missing this shade here, which is this beautiful blue purple shimmer, because it came shattered. They were out of stock, so they refunded me with no issues. But I've spoken with several of you as well as some other creators, and every time they reorder, that shade and potentially even more of them are broken. So for me, I can't recommend it, although I love the colors. So I would say that this would be a pass purely because of the issues that they have with that particular shade breaking. However, they released some eyeliners, liquid eyeliners with this collection. And this one here is the light blue. So this is called, what is the color name? Well, it's number 5. But I really like these eyeliners. They're easy to use. You can see we do have a felt tip applicator here. And when you put this in, it's pressing it down into the well. You can feel that happening, which I feel like is a slightly different mechanism from what we see with a lot of other liquid eyeliners. I think this will help keep it fresh a bit longer. And, you know, it's really easy to get precision with these. So I picked up 3 of the colors. I absolutely love them. I am considering getting more if I start wearing liquid eyeliner a bit more, because I think these are so fun for summer. They've got some really great shades. And then we have the La Mer lip serum. So this is the lip volumizer, and I have the berry shade. And I think this is a really nice, very, very sheer berry lip gloss. So it does feel hydrating on the lips. I think this is really great to top off a lipstick. It's pretty light on the lips. So wearing it on its own, you're not going to get much color, but I like it. It is minty. You can smell mint and you can feel mint. So if you don't like minty lip glosses, this is not for you. But overall, it's a nice one. I would pick this up on sale, but it is pretty pricey for what you're getting. Does it make itself more special and more unique than less expensive products? Not really, but it is a nice product. I like the color. So I would pick it up again, but on sale. Then we have the Sonia G Select brushes that came out, and unfortunately those did not work out for me. You know, there was a little bit of a defect with the ones that I purchased, and I think it was pretty widespread. So I had gaps between my bristles and the ferrule, which I felt like water was going to get in there and disturb the glue. So I was able to return mine to Beautylish. So yeah, unfortunately I don't have those to show you anymore, but I would stay away from those. Her other brushes, I've never had a problem with any of her other ones, but just something to note there. Next, we have the YSL bronzer, and I picked up shade 1. I think I could have gone with shade 2. I think this is a really great velvety formula. You can see when I'm touching it that it's really a nice velvety texture. And there's no shimmer in here. It goes on nicely. There's a little bit of a blurring action. And overall, I have to say I really like the formula. So the color's a little light. It works for me, but I think something maybe in between the 1 and the 2 would be the perfect shade. Although personally, I feel like there are options like most bronzers. You know, we don't really have any rosy tones like we do in the Gucci 01. And I would have loved to see something a little bit rosier like that shade, because that is my holy grail bronzer. So overall, though, I picked this up again. I think it's a really great formula, and yeah, I like this one. I also picked up the Gucci Cushion Foundation. And right now I've only seen this available at Selfridges. And this is shade 02. And I really like this foundation. I think it is a nice foundation. You've got a little bit of luminosity in there. And yeah, overall, it's a really nice cushion. So I would pick this one up again. Next, we have the Merit Matte Lipsticks, and I really love their satin lipsticks. I think they're great. I liked them so much that I ended up purchasing all of the shades over a period of time. This one here is the shade Classic. Let's put this one right here. And I think their matte formula is nice. It's not my favorite matte formula, but it's a nice formula. So I would pick these up again. But the colors, they're pretty warm, kind of autumnal. I wish they had some, you know, shades that are a little bit more spring, summer like, because obviously they're launching now. We're heading into those seasons here in the US. Although obviously people on the other side of the world, you know, this is perfect timing for them. So, but since, you know, it is more of a US based company, I was hoping to see some more spring-like shades. And this classic shade is supposed to be more of like your classic pink. You can see it's definitely more peach. So the shades, you know, out of the ones that I picked up, they run a bit warmer than what you see in the promo photos. So just something to note. Definitely check them out in person or check out some swatch videos if you're thinking of ordering these. Next, the Basma cream blushes. This one here is the shade Mauve. This is the shade that I use the most. And I think these are a really great cream blush. So we've got a nice formula that goes on. It's thin, it's not tacky, it sinks into the skin. It lasts all day and they're a good price point. So I picked mine up at Sephora with the Sephora sale starting. You know, I think this is a great opportunity to try them out if you're interested. Then we have the Armani. These are the Fluid Sheer Glow Enhancers. So this is not a new product from Armani, but they have reformulated it over previous versions. This one here is shade 8. This is the one that I probably use the most. I have 2 of them. This is just a nice light pink. And you can see you can use this as a highlighter. You can build it up for a blush. You know, they have a range of shades. You can use these on the eyes as bronzer, blush, highlight, and so forth. And, you know, I think it's a really nice formula because it does sort of sink into the skin. Compared to the Dior Maximizers, these are a little bit more subtle. This is pink in the Dior. And you can see that the Dior, it's a little bit more metallic-y. I mean, this is a lighter shade. So we have a bit more of a metallic finish versus more of a shimmery finish with the Armani. The Make Beauty eyeliners. These are a gel eyeliner pencil. This one here is the shade Emerald. And I think this is a really great gel eyeliner because it's really easy to go on. You can smudge this out, or, you know, if you just kind of let it set, it will set. We've got 2 components here. There's a sharpener and there's a little brush. The brush I find to be a little pointless because it's a little bit too floppy. You're not really going to be able to get too much precision with it for smudging things out. You can get a very faint wing with it, but it's just not quite stiff enough in my opinion. So overall though, I love these eyeliners, and next time I place an order from Make, I will definitely throw in some more shades. Next we have the Makeup by Mario, the Neutrals palette, and I am not sure where I have that right now because my room is a disaster. I really need to just kind of take a week off and clean, but just feel like there's never time. So anyway, I think that is a nice matte neutral eyeshadow palette. It's, you know, I think in the promo photos, it looks like cool neutrals. It's really just neutrals. Yes, you have like 1 or 2 shades that run cooler, but you also have a few shades that run warmer. So it's a neutral palette, matte. There's shades that you probably already have in your collection. They're more of a powdery matte. Overall, I think it's a nice palette, worth picking up on sale if you want to have a collection altogether, but they are shades that most of us probably already have in other palettes. So I think it's nice. You know, if you already have something like the Viseart, their neutral matte palette is pretty comparable. That is going to be a little bit more pigmented than the Makeup by Mario. Then we have the SUQQU Blossom Beat collection, and this is the palette 137. These items here were gifted. I love this palette. I think it's really beautiful. We've got purples. We have, you can see we've got like a pinky purple. I did have one little disappointing thing, like in here, this looks like it's going to be, you know, you can see it's purple, you've got some blue shimmer, and I was hoping to see a bit more of that blue, but I really don't. I think it's a really beautiful purple palette though. Definitely really like that. So that is a win. The SUQQU blush, both of the blushes in that collection run pretty warm. I think they're nice, but they're not must-haves for me. And then this is the lipstick in 102, and I do have some additional swatch comparisons for this on the community tab if you're interested. But I think it's a really nice everyday kind of peachy nude kind of lipstick shade. So I think that was a win. Overall, I think the collection looks very beautiful. I ended up not picking up all of the pieces from the collection. You know, Selfridges, right now it's at Selfridges. It is launching now at Liberty and Harrods, and it'll be coming to Cult Beauty in the next few weeks. So, you know, all the dates are on my in the description box for the video for the SUQQU products. But yeah, you know, Selfridges, they have now, I just recently renewed my global membership, and they have increased the minimum spend to get shipping. So I was actually 10 cents short. I ended up getting my order to $99.90. It's 10 cents short. So I have not purchased. So kind of annoyed there. This is the YSL face powder. So unlike the bronzer, this flips open and we have a little sponge here, which is right here. And I think it's a nice face powder. It does come in different shades. Like I have here, this is shade number 1. It also comes in a translucent shade. So I think it's a nice powder. It's pretty equivalent to some other powders there between, you know, I think if you're in the market for a powder, definitely check out the video I have on this, because I compared a few other powders and kind of gave my thoughts as to, you know, depending on your skin type, which one would work best for you. While we're talking about powder though, I just want to bring up these Addiction powders, and they have the glow powder. This is the translucent pink. And these you can see are kind of like these are powders that work well for pretty much any skin type. Even if you have dry skin, you know, a lot of times something like even the YSL, if you put this on, you know, it kind of has that velvety powder texture. It can look a little too dry if you get too much. But these Addiction ones, they are a thinner formula, and they feel like there's a little bit more gel in the formula. Not that it feels wet or anything on the skin, but it just doesn't have that powdery look. So, you know, I think those are definitely, you know, it's something to look at. I was sent the Addiction powders, but I was actually going to purchase all of them myself before they contacted me. So yes, I would definitely recommend those. And then we have the Chikuhodo Ren series, and this is a new series from Chikuhodo, and I did go into detail about each of the brushes. Definitely check out that video, but I really like these. I think these are an awesome series. They are a blend, and I find it's pretty hard to get the blends right. And in this case, we have squirrel and fox hair, so it's incredibly soft, but the blend of fibers does give you kind of like a little bit difference in texture and performance. So you can see it's soft, it's fluffy. It has a little bit more spring than you might expect from a gray squirrel hair brush. But yeah, you know, it's kind of like that perfect intermediary between fox and squirrel. Now, just note that these are for powder products only, so no creams or liquids with them. I highly recommend them if you're in the market for brushes like this, something incredibly soft on the skin. Then we have the Dior Bronzer. So this is the Dior Forever Bronzer, and I have shade 032, which is pink bronze. The pink honestly doesn't really make a difference. This center portion is glittery, so it's going to be a shimmery bronzer if you mix everything together. I think it's an okay bronzer. You know, the formula is nice. I like how you can separate the shimmer out if you don't want to use that. And, you know, it's kind of warm though. It's a little bit warm, little yellow, a little bit orange. So for me, the color is just not perfect for my complexion, but I think the formula is nice. Just note that we do have that shimmery section there. So if you are swirling all over and really buffing that into your skin, after a while, it ends up looking pretty shimmery. So it's a nice bronzer, but for me, it's not perfect. So I would pass on this one because the color is just not great for my skin tone. Then we have the Victoria Beckham pencils. I think this blue shade, this is called Cornflower. This is a really beautiful shade. Look at that. These are smooth, easy to use. You know, you can buff these out onto the lid. They last all day for me. If I leave it completely piled up, I will get creasing. But if I blend them out in the crease, no issues with creasing. And I think we've got some beautiful shades. So this one here is Cornflower. This one here is Shroom, which is my favorite. It's a really nice kind of taupey shade. On people with a warmer skin tone, you're going to get a little bit more of a plummy vibe. There is a little bit of plum in here. It's not as noticeable on my skin tone because I am neutral leaning cool. So if you are a bit warmer, you'll see more of that plum. And then this is actually their older shade. This is Macaron. This is a new one. This is called Ballet, and this is going to be a shimmery pink. You can see next to Macaron, it's going to be warmer, almost a touch of bronze in there. But this is really more like that shade of pink ballet slippers. So, but it has some shimmer. So I personally really like those. I thought those were a nice addition to their current lineup. Then we have Violette Fr. This is one of their Bisou blushes, which these are one of my favorite cream blushes. We do have a brush on one side. This comes off so that you can clean it. And then we've got this like perfect corally shade here. Let's put it right here. And you can see it's a really beautiful kind of coral shade. And this is like great for summer. So this is a great cream blush because it's a little bit drier. It sinks into skin. It lasts all day. And yeah, I'm very happy with the new shade. It's a definite repurchase for me. And two new Sisley lipsticks. This one here is 201 Rose Tokyo. And you can see this is going to be a great daily shade. It's kind of a bit of a peach nude rose combination. And I think it's really beautiful. So it's a little on the warm side. And then we have 45 Rouge Milano, which I love. This is a great classic red. You know, it's not super bright. I mean, obviously it's a red, so it's going to be pretty pigmented and deep. But you can see that, you know, it's kind of like that classic red. Really beautiful. I think their formula is fantastic. I would definitely buy both of them again. But if I had to pick one, it'd be Rouge Milano. Then we have Jones Road. This is a new Miracle Balm in Pinched Cheeks. I think this is a really beautiful shade. So I don't have a lot of these. These are a product that people will either love or hate. There is kind of that herbal fragrance to it. If you're familiar with Egyptian Magic, that's what it smells like to me. You can see this is kind of a nice neutral rose kind of shade. Little bit dusty, a little bit bright. It's kind of like right in the middle. I think it's great for summer. And I like it as blush. So this one was gifted to me. I would pick up this shade because I do like to use these a lot during the summer, you know, just to give a little bit of color for those no makeup looks. Then we have Fara Homidi, and this is her face palette in Sylvette. And it took me a little, you know, a few tries to kind of figure out exactly how I like to use this, but I think it's a really nice product. If you travel a lot, it's great. It's good for those barely their makeup looks. So I would pick that one up again. And then I also picked up her lip palette in red too. And I love the lip palette. I don't typically love lip palettes. There are a few that I've really enjoyed over the years. The ESUM lip palette, the Surratt one that was out for limited edition, and now this one. That's basically it for lip palettes like ever. So what I like about this one is we have this primer shade. You can put it on top. You can also kind of put it you know, over it. I'm sorry, you can put it on the bottom or you can put it on top, and it will kind of dull the lip color a little bit. And let me just show you what the red looks like. You get that soft blurred lip look with this, which is what I really like. And you can easily top it with a gloss if you don't want to use a primer, if you want something a bit more emollient as well. So I really like that. The lip pencil, I picked up a lip pencil to match. It's an okay lip pencil. You know, it's kind of your average lip pencil. Nothing spectacular about it one way or the other. So, you know, it was a nice match, but nothing to write home about formula-wise. And mine is in the wash right now, but I also picked up her buffer brush, which I really like. It's similar in shape to the Raymore 6.5. Which is this one here, but it's a little bit more dense. The angle here is a little bit more shallow, and I think it's just a really great versatile brush for use with the face palette. You can use it all over for the concealer foundation product. You can use it for the highlight, you know, because the straight edge works very well for that. You can also use it for blush. So I think it's a great versatile brush. However, I did share some similar brush styles in my video, so if you're interested in it, check it out. You might already have something similar. And then we have these Flight tinted lip balms, and these were gifted to me. This is the shade Rome, and I have to say, these are a nice sheer lip tint. You know, I think these are great for summer. The formula is nice. I really like these. So, you know, if I had known about them in advance, these are definitely something that I would purchase. So I really like these. I think they're worth picking up one or two if you love tinted lip balms. Speaking of tinted lip balms, so if you're looking for one with SPF, I highly recommend these new Tatcha ones, which, you know, I think these are great because it's got SPF, but there's no taste, there's no fragrance. And that is so incredibly hard to find with SPF coverage. So this is Plum Blossom. And you can see it's going to be a little bit more pigmented than the Flight ones. They are comfortable on the lips. They're hydrating. I can't speak highly enough about them. I would definitely recommend them. They only have 3 shades though. So, you know, go with a shade that, you know, you love, but do hope they expand the shade range because I love these. Likewise, the Tatcha sunscreen. This is the same as the one that came in the square bottle that was released a few years ago. I loved that, but the packaging was an issue. They have fixed the packaging issue, so I'm happy to say that this is back. This is, you know, my daily sunscreen after skincare. So you can, it works as a primer as well. So, you know, you don't need to use a separate primer. I usually do during the summer because, you know, I love that Surratt primer canceling out sort of any sort of sunscreen kind of sheen. So for me, you know, that's how I like to use it. But that is probably my favorite facial sunscreen. So really like that. And there's no scent. Just so you can see a little bit of the sunscreen here. You can see that there is a little bit of color in the formula. It's, you know, sinks into your skin, but it does help prevent that white cast. So I personally really love that sunscreen. Then I went through all of my items from Sisley, like my entire Sisley collection. So, you know, Sisley did have a 20% off friends and family sale. That was a great time to purchase things. There are so many things I love from Sisley, but I did cover everything in that video. Check it out if you're interested in any of their products. And then we have Guerlain Spring. So, you know, I'm torn on the meteorites. They have the puff, which is new and nice. I like that. But that has decreased the amount of product. We're now down to 20 grams. The older ones were 25 grams. Then it went to 22 last summer. Now it is 20 grams. These are now talc free, by the way. And they changed the fragrance. I do not like the new fragrance. Some people will. They've added like sandalwood and vanilla. And, you know, I personally prefer the violet fragrance. So don't love that, but I do really like the actual product and I love the packaging. So I would pick up maybe one of these. You know, they have a new light shade. This one here is shade 4, which, you know, I've been using this a lot as blush, and this should be very similar to the previous formula in the deep shade. So I don't have that one. It is supposed to be an updated version of that shade though. This is the white one, and this is meant to be used more as a highlighter. I think it's nice, but honestly, I've been reaching more for shade 4 than any of the others. Also, we have a new eyeshadow palette, and there is, you know, we've got multi-chrome, you know, kind of shimmer finish shades. Let's kind of put this here, running out of space. But I think this is it's a nice palette, but it's, you know, it's nice, but it's not like, wow. So what I don't love is the fact that they didn't use their formula that they originally brought out with these quads. You know, this is more of just your classic regular eyeshadow formula. We don't have that big formula with that special grip. So I wish they had that. The price, you know, has increased. We don't have special packaging to, you know, there's really no reason for the price increase in my opinion, because we don't have that better formula and we don't have any special packaging or embossing. So yeah, you know, it's just, it's nice, but for me, I probably wouldn't pick this up again. If you love these colors, you know, then it might be worth it. But yeah, for me, I think I'd pass on this. What I really love from the collection was, this is not it, but they brought out a new Kiss Kiss Bee Glow in the shade Rose or Pop Rose. This is the lip oil in that shade. I actually have the lip balm in my handbag, but I really love the lip balm. So I think that is definitely a win for me. And those are the items I picked up, and that was basically it. The lip oils I did cover last month. You know, they're not my favorite personally, but they're nice. They have a strong honey fragrance. They can be a little sticky, but they are a lip oil. They kind of feel like honey on your lips, and I do feel like they kind of melt on my lips a little bit. So you do have to worry about putting on too much and having it kind of like drip down a little bit. Obviously not like water drop drips, but it can like kind of smear down there. Then we have the Lisa Eldridge Skin Tint. Absolutely love this. I have shade T1. You know, I think I could probably use a different shade as well, but these are tints, so there's some flexibility in there. I think this is a great skin tint. I really like it. Don't love the packaging because, you know, it lies like this. And I would prefer it to go vertically so that I could stand it up with my other, you know, face products. But, you know, I think it's a great skin tint. I would purchase that again. I may even pick up another shade in the future. I also picked up a few of her new lip pencils. I think they're okay. I've been using them a lot, but I have noticed that they don't necessarily always stay crisp around my lip area, so they can kind of smear a little bit. So they're not a favorite formula, but they're okay. So I probably wouldn't pick these up again unless there was like a perfect shade for me. So I think they're okay. And then the mascara, I absolutely love her mascara. So, you know, there have been so many great new mascaras. This is definitely one of the best ones in my opinion. There's no smudging, no smearing, no flaking. It gives you like defined fluffy lashes. I don't see like tons of lengthening or anything, but I think it is fantastic. I'd love to see it in brown, but I'm definitely going to repurchase that mascara. I really love that mascara. Then we went over the Estee Lauder versus the Cle de Peau. These are their Diamond Serum lipsticks, and the Estee Lauder, you know, they were a fail for me because the one shade that I have is gritty. So plus packaging wise, I do prefer the Cle de Peau personally because I do feel like this is not going to stay clipped in over long time because you can see our grooves here are pretty shallow. So I feel like for an extra $10, go with the Cle de Peau, which feels a little bit more skincare like on your lips. It feels, you know, I actually do notice that I get reparative benefits when using this one. Nothing major, not as much as you might get from something like the Revision lip balm, but it does help, and I prefer the Cle de Peau. LYS, these are their new glow blushes. Love these. Last all day. Beautiful shades. They're pigmented. Can use them under or over foundation. Definitely really love these. So these are a win. Then we have the new YSL Lip Shine or Love Shine lipsticks. And I think these are nice. They are similar to the Rouge Volupté Shines, but these are going to be a little bit lighter, more sheer. And, you know, honestly, I don't really notice much of a scent difference between this and the older one, but some people who really use the older version a lot, they can tell a difference. So the fragrance is slightly different. I personally find these to be a bit more hydrating on my lips, but they are a lighter formula as well, a little bit thinner perhaps. So, you know, I think it's all going to depend on your lip chemistry. I personally like these, so these are a win for me. And then we have the Viseart palettes in Hesperides and Isolde. They're pretty similar to each other. I think the formula is great. They're great kind of everyday rosy neutrals. So if you're missing shades like that in your collection, it's definitely worth picking up. We definitely see similar shades in some of their other palettes and things like that. So I personally do really like them. You know, I can't really pick between the two. They're pretty similar on the eyes. So, but I do like them. So I would pick one versus two of them. And finishing up, we have the Supergoop lip tint in Lucky Me. This was a fail for me because it has a pretty strong taste, which I just can't get past. And then we have the Ciele liquid blush with SPF 50. And I think it's great that it has SPF 50. It does not last all day, but this is a perfect product for when I have to go to like this kids' outdoor activities. I'm sitting in the sun for a few hours. So that's how I'm going to use it. I do plan on picking up more of their products. So I think that is great. Now let's go ahead and move on to my top 5. All right, so for my top 5, these are in no particular order, but the Chikuhodo Ren series. This here is the powder brush, the number 1. Love this. So that is definitely in my list. We've got a couple lipsticks. We have the Sisley in 45. So that is this red here, and the Chanel in 5 o'clock. So those are in there. And then we also have the Lisa Eldridge mascara. And then my last item is actually the Fara Homidi buffer brush, because it's just so versatile. So mine's dirty right now because I just keep using it so much, you know, for everything. So I think it's just a great product, or great brush, because it fits perfectly for concealer, for you know, cream blushes, highlight, using it as like concealer all over the face as well. So I personally just love that brush, even though I do have some similar ones. So those are my top 5. I'd love to know what you've been enjoying in March, if you have any favorites or fails, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you very soon.